Okay. When we first think of the constant threat to the modern world, what comes to mind may be war or poverty. However, there has been another large threat that has been constantly affecting the population, the digital divide. Good afternoon. My name is Victoria Sawyer, and I'm here to introduce to you my topic of the digital divide. How some countries may have been dealing with the digital divide may be better than other countries, which produces the research question: how has the United States addressed the increasing issue of the digital divide in their own country and territories better than China? My answer is that even though the United States has been actively working towards to decrease the digital divide within its own country, and this has been far more successful than China's efforts, the United States has still yet to completely solve this issue. Because the term the digital divide is so broad and varies from the United States and China, providing one set definition is extremely hard. So, in the simplest terms, the digital divide encompasses the ability, both technical and financial, to make full use of the technology available, taking into consideration access or lack of access to the internet. The digital divide has been prominent, especially this year, due to the coronavirus. And because of this, many students and workers are forced to stay home and may not have access to a working technological device that can connect to the internet. However, the FCC, or the Federal Communications Commission, has been actively fighting against the digital divide with large projects such as the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund, which will provide $20.4 billion towards expansion in broadband in rural areas where there are dead zones, meaning that no one in that specific area can access the internet. Along with this, the FCC has also approved a $4.9 billion to fund improvements and expansion of communication networks, in Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Moving our viewpoint from the United States towards China, what we can examine is two main problems. One problem that causes the digital divide in China is internet service providers providing internet in largely populated urban areas instead of rural areas where people are more spread out. Here, the digital divide becomes a geographic problem. If you focus your attention towards figure 1, we can see the red area, which represents the China's rural areas, versus the green area, which represents China's urban areas. As you can see, the red areas greatly outnumber the green areas, but internet service providers are focused only in the green areas because they are more densely populated with Chinese citizens. But what about the Chinese citizens who can access the internet in the green area? Although issues that is causing another issue that is causing the digital divide in China to be so high is the Great Firewall of China. The Great Firewall of China is an extreme form of censorship. It is an extreme form of censorship which the Chinese government is allowed to block specific websites such as Google, Facebook, YouTube, WhatsApp, and other popular websites and social media. Because of this, the population of China is cut off to the Western world and are unable to advance in their science field, education field, and other fields that are in need of development. Although China has an increasing issue of the digital divide, it is a serious issue. The United States also carries major issues that is adding towards a digital divide within their own country. For example, when it comes to internet service providers providing internet access, the digital divide now becomes a matter of low-income households versus high-income households. For instance, the internet service provider Verizon has offered 2 months of free home internet and phone service, but is only available on Verizon's fiber-to-the-home Fios service and not in DSL areas where Verizon never upgraded homes from copper cables to fiber. Another issue is that the FCC repealed the Net Neutrality Act, which prevented internet service providers from speeding up or slowing down the internet for customers. Without this, big internet companies have the ability to slow down or speed up anyone's internet with little to no consequences. But how can we decrease the digital divide? What can we do to ensure that everyone is connected to the internet? One way of doing this is working together to ensure that everyone has equal opportunities to learn and work online. Helping in the community to make sure that each student and adult has a working computer from home and has the ability to access the internet is crucial during these times. Or we can donate to charities or organizations to make a difference in closing the digital divide around the world. The digital divide does not only affect the United States and China, it affects every country around the world. Donating to charities or organizations, whether it be money or lightly used computers, can make a huge difference. However, these solutions often come with limitations. Not everyone can afford to donate money or have the supplies to donate to these two charities, and not everybody has the time to help in the community. And because the United States has repealed the Net Neutrality Act, it's very hard. Okay, having the ability to access the computers to And because the United States repealed the Net Neutrality Act, having the ability to access working computers and other technological devices is one thing, but accessing the internet is another. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, I do have 2 questions for you. First question. Let's talk about your sources that you used. How do you know that they are reliable and valid?
Okay, well, I do know my sources are valid because one of my sources, what I use mainly for this presentation, is the FCC. So not only did I go into the website and read about the sources, I actually clicked on the links to make sure I'm getting the actual documents for the sources and reading through them thoroughly. Also, I made sure that all the resources I used were from experts about the digital divide in the United States and China, specifically for those areas.
Okay. And if you had more time, what additional research would you do on this subject?
I would research because my research question is extremely broad, and I could have taken it in so many different directions. I could have introduced topics about the tech giants in the United States and how that is increasing the digital divide. And I could have talked about how the Great Firewall of China actually also helps Chinese citizens in a way, and it actually decreases foreign competition. But I only was able to get this amount of information because of the short time I had.